Runes are a kind of early alphabet that originated in Northern Europe about 500 BC. They were symbols carved out of stone or pieces of wood used in pagan rituals to portend future events and invoke magic. Of all the runes, Thorn had the most negative influence. Among the ancient druids, Thorn represented a demon that spread sickness, destroyed crops, brought death to hundreds of thousands of people. According to Celtic legend, one child from each tribe was chosen to be inflicted with the curse of Thorn, to offer the blood sacrifices of its next of kin on the night of Samhain.
Halloween.
The sacrifice of one family meant sparing the lives of an entire tribe.
So, why are you so concerned about us if Michael's only out to kill his family?
In his mind, anyone living in his house is his family. For years, I've been convinced there must be some reason, some method behind Michael's madness. And the common link I found is Thorn. The Druids were also great mathematicians and astronomers, but the Thorn symbol is actually a constellation of stars that appears from time to time on Halloween night. Whenever it appears, he appears. I've traced it back to 1963 when Michael murdered his sister Judith. The next time was in 1978. Michael escapes from Smith's Grove. It happened a decade later, and the year after that, he kills again. Now Jamie says Michael is back. And for the first time in 6 years, Thorn reappears. Coincidence?
What would happen if he succeeded? If he killed the last member of his family?
And Michael's power would end. And the curse would be passed on to another child.
So, yeah, before we do get into it, Saw 5. Come on.
Saw 5? It was all right.
One thing I mentioned when we did our Saw 10X 1.5 review, that the post-credit scene, there was a certain character which you hadn't seen yet because you had only seen 1 and 2. Now, you know about Hoffman now. You know about his antics with Jigsaw. He was in the room.
I think I knew about it anyway. Like, I'm sure somebody at some point had said, or maybe I was vaguely aware that, you know, at some point in the franchise, Jigsaw dies and there's a cop that takes over.
Yeah.
So I was vaguely aware that there was. I think for a time I thought that was actually Amanda, and that's who that was. But then I know what's going on now.
See, that's what I wanted to talk about when we were doing the review, because I couldn't talk about it. That I would have preferred if Amanda carried it on. I think she had more depth to her character than Hoffman.
I tell you what, we really struggled with Hoffman and Storm. Is it Storm?
Gilmore Girls, Luke. Yes, I know
Storm
Gilmore Girls.
Or Storm or something like that. Anyway, the other guy, the other detective working the case, were very similar.
Strong.
Like, they just looked kind of the same. They were similar builds, and it was just like it was difficult. It was difficult to follow who was who. What's going on? Which one are you? It was like, because I have the same issue watching The Departed with
Marky Mark, Leo, and Matt Damon.
Are all basically the same person as well. and in a film where the plotline is essentially like double crossing and playing different characters and all that sort of stuff, it makes it even more complicated. So I was getting a little bit of that with Saw 5. I'm like, which one are you again? Are you the bad one or the good one? But it was good. I enjoyed it. It's the kind of the traps sort of become a little bit secondary in it for me, and it is more about like seeing how it all links back.
That's kind of what I was saying. Yeah, it's the writing, not necessarily how characters are written and their text. You know, it's no Godfather or it's no really well done writing. It's just the way the story is written, how the timelines will work. It's fun to watch. It's very cop drama, like I said. Like it could be like a big Law and Order. You take away the traps. Yeah. Where in Saw 5 have they established? They must have established Jill, right? Jigsaw's John Kramer's partner.
His wife, his ex-wife. Yeah. It's all she's all through that one.
Is that's also as well how she lost the baby?
Yeah. We got
yes,
that one. Yeah.
Yes, that's it, because it's got the scene of the guy that inadvertently hurt Jill to make them lose the baby. He then puts a trap on him. The drug addict, basically, the addict.
The first one, yeah.
But I like that little touch that he's connected to Amanda.
Mm.
It's just the little things like that.
Yeah, it's good. It is good how it all links back together, and it's you get this origin story, and I suppose like John Kramer had like a bad run of it, like he really does. If you think of like what happens, it then goes on to happen in Saw 10. Yeah.
It just gets worse and worse.
And everything. It's just like this guy. Like, fair enough. I'm firmly like on his side now. Like, he's had a shit run of things, and I'd probably want to punish a few people as well. Like, just crack on, mate. You're doing all right.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you're progressing. You've got Saw 6 is, I think, the worst out of the main line. Not to say it's an awful film, but
the problem now is that the next 3 or whatever it is, well, it's 4, I guess, if we include Spiral.
No, you've got 3 more. You've got 6.
No, 3. Sorry, Spiral.
Jigsaw and Spiral.
Yeah. On any streaming services, so we're keeping our eyes peeled in CEX.
I know a couple of. You got a VPN? I know a couple of good streaming services. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, you got a couple more. But I think 6 is.
We'll get to them when we get to them.
6 is not the best film, but it ends the franchise. I hate using the word. I much prefer the term series than franchise. Franchise is the Marvel thing, isn't it? It's the superhero thing. It ends the series. It kind of bookends it quite nicely. And it's got Chester Bennington in a nice little trap, which is quite cool to see.
Okay.
Well, not a nice trap. It's actually horrific, but cool. I'm glad you're progressing, and then you can get back to your Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, we've still got to finish those off as well.
Yeah, you still got a few of them to go through.
And I guess technically we started the Final Destinations as well.
Oh,
so we got
yes.
Plenty to go out.
Yeah, it is the spoopy. I'm sorry.
No.
I did it to annoy you. I'm sorry.
And I saw somebody use that phrase on Twitter a couple of days ago, and I nearly instantly just muted him. It was like, just block, just shut up.
Sent out a hit on them. You don't deserve it.
It's
he's going off, folks. He's going off.
You've got me started now. It's one thing if it was an abbreviation, like if it was a shortening of the word, but it's not. It's just a childish way of saying the correct word, and it just makes you sound like an imbecile, and I'll die on that hill.
It's not even cute. It's not even cute. No.
It's just irritating. I hate it so much.
Well, on that note, folks, it's time for the spoopy podcast. That is the Dreadcast. Welcome back. I am Thomas. Lovely Aidan.
Hello.
And we definitely did not record at like idle hands about 5 hours ago. I actually had to change my shirt because I figured, shit, if I'm wearing the same lounging t-shirt, that's a lounging t-shirt. That's not a day-to-day t-shirt.
No.
So that's got about another day in it, I'd say, before it gets funky. But if I was wearing that, it would look a bit odd, so I had to change it, freshen it up a bit. Now, I did allude before to today's episode how much I feel like we've got to get through. But before we do that, you have clearly something to. Yeah, it's pretty jazzy. It's pretty jazzy.
I've got this wonderful Skellington t-shirt.
Ah, Lisa, look out! A skeleton.
It's rather good. Tesco's finest. It glows in the dark as well.
Hey, go turn off all your lights and the curtains.
In the middle of the day, it's not going to work. But I was going to wear this little number. This rather unassuming black hoodie.
That doesn't sound like you.
That? It's got little.
Was it Gordon Ramsay?
Little cross knives. It is Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, look at how fitting that is.
I know. So, and then on the sleeves,
what we got?
It says, coming home since 1978. So yeah,
that's nice.
Fantastic bit of kit. The problem with it is so warm. It is ridiculous. It's like the best hoodie I've got, the warmest hoodie I've got, and I would absolutely melt if I had to wear it. So, but I did just want to show it off because it's really cool.
Few things. That is the original mask design, I believe.
Should be.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like the awful other ones.
No.
Where did you get it from?
I can't remember.
Oh, it's not new.
Oh no, I've had it a while. I'm pretty sure I've tweeted it previously.
Right.
But you'd probably have to scroll back. I will look it up. I will look it up and
that's really nice.
Remember where I got it from, because they did a bunch of other stuff. I think they had some Texas Chainsaw stuff as well. But yeah, I'd have to scroll back quite a way on my Instagram page to find it. But I will do that. I will do that in the interim, and then next episode I will be able to say, oh yeah, that Halloween hoodie I showed off last one, it's from, and we'll do a little plug. If they're still going, I don't even know if I'm assuming the company's still going. You
showing that added to something I was thinking about last night, which I haven't talked to you about, is it's definitely spurring on an idea that I feel I've been looking for horror Christmas jumpers.
Oh yeah,
it will be a good attire for the month of December.
If we get a horror Christmas jumper each, I think that's a good idea.
I need to find. It's got to be awful. It's got to be awful.
I feel like the last couple of years, the terrible Christmas jumper has exploded as a thing, and covers many different IPs now.
Yeah. I want something tasteless, absolutely tasteless. If Guy Fieri made it.
There's a Nightmare on Elm Street one there.
Problem is, I feel like I had a little look last night. When you search very briefly, when you search horror Christmas jumpers, it's mostly your modern pop culture horror IPs. Lots of quotation marks there. So you're gonna get Stranger Things. You're probably gonna get.
There's a lot of Pennywise.
Yeah. You're going to get a lot of that stuff, not really a lot of the classics. You might get Ghostface, you might get... Freddy's still kind of... Well, as we know from Primark, Freddy is still very popular.
Oh, there's a Xenomorph one there. That's pretty cool.
Well, Xenomorphs died a long time ago, but yeah.
There's an actual Freddy Krueger jumper, as in red and green bands.
It was more so when I looked briefly last night, Zavi had a bundle, but yeah, they were your modern pop culture ones.
EMP's coming up with quite a lot.
I'm gonna have a look on Etsy. I want to find some custom
ones. They seem to be quite expensive.
Folks out there, if you have any funky horror clothing or anything like what Aidan's just shown, or anything at all like I show in Primark, send it to us on the Twitter or Instagram, which is the underscore Dreadcast, and the same on the TikTok. I don't know if you could say. I'm still new to the TikTok, what these kids use these days, but that is the underscore Dreadcast.
The talking. I mean, this started when we did our Valentine episode, and we found the Valentine t-shirts. To be quite honest, I think there's a Grudge t-shirt. Oh, that's quite nice.
No film has more merch than Valentine, apparently.
No film has better.
Better good point.
Merch than Valentine.
Good point. Yes, that is
good guys one there. There's some good stuff.
definitely a plan. I think that's definitely a plan. We got to jazz it up. I'm going to put some lights up here. I'm going to have a little horror Christmas tree. It's going to be a good month because horror doesn't end. Horror isn't just for October. Horror is year round. You just got the thing is, you've just got to cater for it on the year round. You've got to cater for it month by month. You know. People think
there's always room to just horror up what you're doing. I think.
Right. Right.
That
right.
sigh of trepidation.
I have so much to talk about with this episode. So much so, I don't think we're going to get it all in. That this may come. You may not have a choice in this. We may come back to this in the future.
I think if we're doing a part 2, you're doing it on your own. To be quite honest,
it's not what it says in the contract you signed. The blood contract you signed, okay?
I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty sure I fell asleep for a small portion of this one. So
how dare you?
you can fill in the gaps. You may be doing a bit more of the lifting on this.
I do the heavy lifting,
anyway. Yeah.
Well, today, folks, is our Halloween special. Every year, got to do a Halloween film because there's so many of them. Got to do a Halloween film on Halloween, and we're not going to do the original Halloween just yet. We got to hang on to that. We got to hang on to that for a bit.
Yeah.
So far, we on the channel we have covered Halloween Kills. I believe we talked about Halloween Ends in a year wrap up last year. I am doing the slow talk as I am not quickly looking. The classic slow talk. Just click that one there. Just scroll.
Just waiting for the page to load.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So just repeat words and words and words, and people won't believe. Oh, there it is. We did not do Halloween Kills because Halloween Kills came out the year before the podcast even existed. It was a twinkle in the YouTube's eye. We had done Halloween Ends last year, which I pretty much went back on everything I said about that film because I actually, on the second viewing, I understood it more. I enjoyed it a little bit more. It's not perfect. It's not great, but it's okay. It's better than Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills sucks. We then did Halloween Resurrection. And we'll get back onto Halloween Resurrection just in a second. Because that's a bad film, as is today's film. And today's film is Halloween 6. And it's a film. It's a piece of media. Now, I watched it on my lovely Halloween 4K collection of the bad films. These are beautiful. These are really beautiful because each one has a very different cover of the different Michaels. So that's Halloween 6.
Okay.
When we got Halloween H2O with the big hair, as you can see. And we got Halloween Resurrection with his slick back hair. How do you fuck up the mask for every film?
I mean, just to talk about the look of Michael in this one, Halloween 6. So it's the curse of Michael Myers, isn't it?
The curse of Michael Myers and the curse of the franchise.
It's full title. The bane of my existence. Halloween 6, the bane of my existence. But yeah, just to talk about Michael, it looks like a Halloween costume. It looks like somebody's got a Halloween costume of Michael Myers on. You know what I mean? This doesn't look like like Michael Myers in the film, and you're trying to believe in the world of the film. This looks like somebody has gone to their local costume shop and got I want a Michael Myers costume. You're second from cheapest.
I think it looks. This is one thing I will give it credit for. I don't think it looks as bad as Michael in Halloween 4 or 5.
Okay.
4. The mask is awful, and
it's not.
And
I don't know if it's so much the mask really as just the.
Is it the body?
Overall...
Is it the statue?
Yeah, it's just the overall look. He doesn't look like he's that big and imposing, or you know what I mean. Feels like it's just lacking a little bit. I mean, the mask in 4 is definitely worse.
But the thing with the mask in 4 is, if you look at the poster for 4. It's like, no, we have Halloween at home. Like here's what you could have had in the poster. The poster's fantastic. I love the poster for 4. The site, half of his mask on the camera on the poster with the house in the background. Have you seen it? Yeah. And then you look at in the film, it's nothing like it.
Yeah, it looks kind of squashed.
It's so bad. And I think it's in 5. The actor who played him, oh my god, the mask in 5, because the neck part of the mask is not tucked into the suit. It looks massive. He's got a massive neck.
It looks like what's his name? Alan Rickman.
He does a bit.
Looks like Alan Rickman.
He's got the Corey Taylor neck going on there. I got no neck. Just the downfall of the look of Michael Myers is
it's not good.
It's something that could be studied in itself. But yeah, these 4Ks are incredible. They really are. I mean, if you look at the back of that, right? This is Halloween 6.
Mm-hmm.
Look how much shit is on this. This is 4. There are 4 discs just for this film.
Okay.
Granted, two of them are different cuts, which we'll very much get into, theatrical and producer's cut. But then you've got a Blu-ray, watch it on Blu-ray, and then disc 4 is all these special features, which I just didn't have time to get into. My notes do include a hell of a lot that I do know about this film, but there's probably little bits that we'll probably miss, which is fine. But Halloween 6, so I've got a mental timeline of how to break this episode down because there's so much.
You are taking the lead on this, so go for it.
As with most series, your history with this series
is again, I don't for some a part of right. I had to talk. I think Friday the 13th was my slasher series.
For a man with a Michael Myers hoodie, I know. I would expect better.
I'm also a blatant poser.
You are.
I've seen
like, fan.
I've seen the first one a bunch of times, and I love the first one. I've seen the second one a handful of times. I've seen H2O a few times. It's one I've kind of dipped into it, but I've never sat and watched the full. I'm yet to watch any of the newer ones. I've not followed it religiously, and I've certainly not done multiple watches. So this was the first watch for me, not seen it before. I was aware of it, again, vaguely aware of like the mythology and what happens and but never actually sat down and watched it. For me, it's like, it's the first one, and
so you've done 1, 2, and H2O.
1, 2, H2O, maybe another one, but I don't know. I'd have to. It's probably them. I could stick 4 on and go, oh yeah, maybe I have seen this. You know what I mean? I've got an inkling that I've maybe watched a couple of the others, but couldn't be.
I actually like this. I love that when I'm just not doing the podcast, just talking to someone who hasn't seen a lot of horror films that I've seen, because it means I could do that Malcolm in the Middle meme of, well, son, let me tell you about this. So 3 obviously is the standalone. This is what they tried to divert from Michael Myers because Halloween 2 wasn't successful, and they wanted to go. Deborah Hill and John Carpenter wanted to go back to what Halloween was meant to be, which was every film was going to be a different story. Mm-hmm. Halloween 3 is great, but it didn't do well, so they went back to Michael Myers for Halloween 4. Halloween 4, I love Halloween 4. It has its flaws, but we get introduced to Jamie, our new protagonist, which is in canon, Laurie's daughter. And Laurie's dead at this point. Jamie's been adopted by a new family, and I love Danielle Harris. Danielle Harris's performance as Jamie as a kid actor is fucking great. It's up there with Corey Feldman as Tommy from Friday the 13th, I think. And then the end of Halloween 4 is great. If you don't know what's coming, it's a great one. It's a great one to not be spoiled by. Halloween 5 dips a bit. We continue the story with Jamie Lloyd being stalked and harassed by Michael, trying to kill her. And then we get to Halloween 6, which is set 6 years after Halloween 5. And you've obviously seen H2O. Resurrection continues from H2O. Are you aware of the timelines? how
I'm
convoluted
aware
these
that
timelines
there are
are.
multiple timelines. I couldn't begin to tell you where it branches off and where it diverts, but I'm aware that there is.
Well, sir, I have something for you. I drew this up last year, which are we going through? I did this for everyone on the World Wide Web.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing this.
So we're talking of the main timeline, which is Halloween 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the H2O timeline, where H2O comes after Halloween 1, negates 2, 4, 5, and 6 completely. So Jamie doesn't exist.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, no, it comes after 2 because Michael was established as her brother. That's it. I think I messed up this timeline when I did it.
Yeah. So
how
it's
embarrassing. How embarrassing.
H2O.
The H40 timeline is where it comes after Halloween 1, which is the 2018 reboot, kills and ends, where Laurie's gone into hiding and comes back. So we have 3 timelines. So Laurie in Halloween has died. She died twice. She's died twice now yeah. Oh wait, no, 3 times. She dies in Rob Zombie's films. Yes, Laurie has died 3 times in the Halloween series. Oh, yeah. Poor girl, can't catch a break. So yeah, it's quite a convoluted mess. And speaking of a convoluted mess, Halloween 6. The fact you hadn't seen 4 or 5, I don't feel.
There's a little bit of recapping at the beginning, and I did a little bit of Googling just to sort of, just to kind of bring myself up to speed a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think you really need to know the franchise inside out to follow what's going on.
No,
if you can follow what's going on anyway. You know what I mean?
I don't. I think it would be an incredibly hard standalone to watch, though. This film.
Yeah.
Because it's not titled Halloween 6, it's just Halloween subtitled The Curse of Michael Myers. Mm-hmm. People might see that as a standalone film, but I think it's pretty difficult. I feel like you could do 4 and 5 as a double bill without watching 1 or 2. That's a nice little double bill, but I think 6 alone might be a little tough because of the Cult of the Fawn, which we'll get into, is very subtly introduced in 4 and then more introduced in 5 with the Man in Black. But 6. So I said there were 2 cuts of 6, and we've got the theatrical cut and the producer's cut. Now, I assume, watched the theatrical cut?
Yeah. Well, I assume I watched the theater. Whichever one was available to rent on Amazon is what I watched. I'm assuming it'll be the theatrical.
It will be. Cut. Yeah, it will be the theatrical cut, which ends in the mad science laboratory, right?
Yes.
Bright green lights and blue lights. Yeah. That's the theatrical cut. I think I originally said I was going to do that because the producer's cut is actually a bit harder to find. I have it; it's part of this, but it wasn't widely released. Like it was like bootleg or whatnot. The theatrical cut was a theatrical cut because it's what they intended to be released in cinemas, because the original test screenings of the original cut was reviewed so poorly. They were like, no, we got to add more kills, more blood, more horrible flash cuts that if you suffer from epilepsy or whatever, my God, this is not the film for you. Where would you like to start?
I mean, start at
the end,
because it gets pretty. It gets pretty weird, like straight off the bat.
Yeah,
we have Jamie in labour, being rushed through a hospital, and then a decision is made upstairs that she's going to give birth in the hospital dungeon, and straight away you're thinking, hang on a minute, something's not quite right here.
Yeah, the hospital dungeon. Yes, that's where births are. That's where they occur.
I mean, unless it's a special request, like a birthing pool or,
a birthing dungeon.
In a home. It's like, I want to give birth in the dungeon on the altar with the candles. I feel that's the most natural atmosphere to bring a child into the world.
That's my shtick.
I want the air of cult surrounding it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I want a proper metal birth. That's what I want. Some Slayer playing in the background.
Have you seen the video for Holy Diver? Wow.
Yes, with Killswitch Engage, right?
Killswitch.
Yeah.
Killswitch's version of Holy Diver. Yeah. Say no more. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, anyone that has seen Halloween 4 and 5, Jamie is portrayed by a different actress than Daniel Harris. A little backstory on to why it's not Daniel Harris. Apparently, because Dimension Films had the rights to Halloween, they sent out feelers for actresses over 18 to portray Jamie, but only because Danielle Harris was 17 and they had child labor laws.
Right.
So she wouldn't have been able to portray her. Which I don't know if that's an American thing or only.
I'm pretty sure we have child labor laws in this
No.
country as well.
No.
I know you're a big Primark fan, but
Well, speak to other countries about that with their sweatshops. But once Harris she got hold of the script apparently, and once she'd read it, she was like, I'm good actually. I'm fine. Someone else can do this actually. There was a quote here saying, I remember everything started to change, like the way everyone was talking about the new script. It just wasn't Halloween. I remember thinking, oh, these people don't know Halloween. I don't get it. Wait, I'm confused. So I am pregnant with my uncle's baby? I just don't understand what happened. Oh my God, this is not what I want to do. I don't want Jamie to die like this. And I think she was right.
I mean, yeah.
I think she was very right. And yes, folks, I did say my uncle's baby.
Yeah.
And that is a whole convoluted mess. The family story of Halloween 6 is very messy. Yeah. It's a shame. I feel like Danielle Harris would have done well. It would have been a nice little cap off. Even if she dies, which she does die, even if she can still die, but with Danielle Harris, it would have been a nice bookend to her story.
Yeah, but, you know, you don't want to be in it. You don't want to be in it. And I think that's fair enough. Especially when you're in, you know, sequels and stuff like that. I think any actor that, like, just turns around and says, you know what, I'm going to skip the paycheck on this. Like, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Jamie doesn't survive that long.
She's in it for a little while. So we have like I was getting like massive Willow vibes at the beginning as well, because it's essentially the same thing. We have somebody giving birth to a baby in, you know, the villain's clutches, and then the nursemaid helps that person escape with said baby. It's exactly the same opening scene as Willow, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to enjoy this because I love Willow.
What year was Willow? 88.
88.
So, you're saying what you're saying on this here podcast. Quote: Aidan is quoted in saying that Halloween 6: Curse of Michael Myers was inspired by Willow from 1988.
100% saying, without a shadow of a doubt, that whoever was Joe Chappelle was heavily influenced by Ron Howard's 1988 fantasy classic Willow in at least the opening scenes of this movie.
And I believe you.
See, watch them side by side. It's almost shot for shot.
May as well. You may as well be watching the same film.
So anyway, that was good. Yeah, so she escapes, and there's a couple of little run-ins with Michael, who just suddenly turns up and has got like a GPS like tracking on Jamie. He knows exactly, even when she's driven halfway, not halfway across the country, we don't know how far she's driven, but even when she's driven, a significant distance in a car, he somehow manages to just like pop up, which is like next level slasher stalking. He
time travels in this film. He travels with the speed of light in this film. There's some ridiculous moments where he's in one place and gets to another in impossible time.
Yeah.
Much later on when he kills the DJ, DJ Barry, I believe his name is. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Well, a lot of this makes sense, but yeah, he catches up with Jamie and the baby. Not we think the baby, but Jamie has hidden the baby in a bus station depot.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he catches up with her like it's no trouble whatsoever. And her death is different. Another one of the first many differences between the theatrical cut and the producer's cut is Jamie's death. And in the theatrical cut, Jamie is killed. She's impaled on a hay bale machine, like a big fork going through her chest. Again, it's pretty bloody. It's what they added for the theatrical cut because they wanted it a bit more violent. The producer's cut is she is stabbed below camera and falls to her death.
Oh,
that's it. It's a very basic, clear cut, original Halloween sort of death. You know, there's nothing to it. It's just so this is the camera, knife, and down.
We see the reaction.
That's it. Yeah, it's not impaled on a fork. Is this mechanism spinning around, churning her chest out, like nothing like that. I don't know. I always felt gore doesn't really fit Halloween that much because of the original.
No, I guess that's it. It doesn't start that way. But then it's like the sequel thing of like amping it up.
Yeah.
You know, trying to amp it up, trying to appeal everything. You know, it's got to be bigger and better and badder than the previous. I mean, the first kill is what the nurse being impaled on a spike through the head or whatever it is, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
In the escape tunnel of the hospital dungeon or whatever it is.
The hospital dungeon, the birthing dungeon, yes. And also the while Jamie is escaping, she encounters I don't know if he's really got a character to him, just a guy out there with his truck.
I think he's just referred to as motorist.
Yeah, his death is changed in the theatrical cut as well. So
right.
She goes to get his help. Michael turns up, kills him, but the way he kills him is spins his neck round, his head round. So in the theatrical cut, you see his spine like kind of pop out the top with a bit of blood. None of that in the producer's cut.
Yeah,
it's added in. So yeah, so Michael is after the baby.
Yes. So are we? Is it later on? I think we're told that it's when the whole curse and the cult thing comes into play. That essentially he has to kill his entire family to pass the curse on to somebody else.
Yes, and the cult of Thorn, which for audio listeners, if you have no idea what the symbol is, it's a real room, real symbol. It's a vertical line with a triangle in the middle poking out the side. Michael apparently Thorn. Yes.
Thorn.
Michael can only do this or appear when the cult of Thorn symbol is in the sky in the constellations, when the stars are aligned. Yeah.
So essentially, we're told that every previous Halloween that Michael has escaped and gone on a rampage, it's because there's been this the stars are aligned to form the thorn in the heavens or whatever.
Yeah.
Which we're told by some excellent 90s computer graphics. I just love that period of like, I mean, this is what, 95, isn't it? It's like early internet where like Hollywood wanted us to believe that computers could do anything.
Yeah. Enhance, zoom in, just tap some keys on the keyboard, enhance, zoom in, rotate 90 degrees. What?
And then if you are investigating a cult, for example, or whatever it might be, such as our heroic Tommy Doyle is, that he's not just going to have a Word document open with symbol appears in star constellation, link equals Michael's rampage question mark. He's going to go to the trouble of editing a little graphic of the stars aligning and a bunch of stuff.
And I put so many hours on working just to editing this podcast. Yeah, he has got this amazing presentation design work done on this 95, so probably like even MS-DOS, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's not even Windows 95 he's working with.
No. Might not have upgraded to that yet.
Yeah.
He's on 3.1. But yeah, and presumably as well, that's just for himself. That's just for his own benefit, because it's also established that he's the local, he's the local weirdo, the loner, and
Yeah. Oh, he certainly comes across that way with his acting. Paul Rudd's theatrical debut, I believe this was just before Clueless.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think Clueless was 96. I'm just going to confirm that, but I think this was his theatrical debut. But it's
that sounds about right.
He has come a long way in acting wise, because he
not changed facially at all.
Oh,
not
no,
aged a day.
Doesn't age, but his acting has, because this is a rough performance. I mean, it also comes down to probably what he's given, the material he's given in this film, for a lot of the actors. But
he was in Romeo and Juliet, apparently.
Really?
That was 96. Yeah.
Oh well, this is 95.
But
so yeah, this was 95. So this was.
Yeah, but you said it was before Clueless, and we were checking the date for Clueless. But
Clueless is 95 as well.
Was Clueless 95 as well?
Okay, well, if Clueless is not. I mean, the theatrical debut year then.
Yeah. I'm just interested. It was just a register of surprise, really, because I can't remember who he is in Romeo and Juliet, but apparently he is there. Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
That's a good film.
It is a very good film.
Very good film. We always say that with a lot of these episodes. Like, we're talking about, we spend nearly 2 hours discussing a shit film, and then halfway through we'll be saying, that's a good film, actually. We should be talking about that. We should talk about that. It's a great film. So Jamie is done for. She's off, out of the picture. No more Jamie Lloyd in the Halloween series, and we move on to just Cara and Danny and the whole family, the Strode family. I've seen this film and the series many times, but I still get confused between the links between this family and Laurie and everyone, because it's such a mess. But I think I found a timeline,
right, which
says how they're linked. Did you get it? Did you understand?
I think it's is it John?
Yeah,
John Strode, the grumpy dad, the angry,
very angry,
abusive. It's his brother is Laurie Strode's dad. I think
yes,
is what was
that's
said.
the
So
one.
He bought that because I think his wife says at some point, you bought this house off your brother, knowing all the horrible things that happened, etc.
Yeah, so
he's the uncle of Jamie Lee Curtis.
In Halloween 1, obviously, Laurie was not played to be Michael's brother. That's how it should have been. In Halloween 2 onwards, she is. So she, in theory, is adopted by Pamela and Morgan Strode from Halloween 1, her real parents from Halloween 1. And then, yeah, John and Deborah are... John is the brother of Morgan. So John and Deborah are the adoptive... sorry. Oh, God. Here, this is such a mess. John and Deborah are the parents of Tim, who we only see for one scene in the breakfast scene. But we see more of him in the producer's cut. We get a little bit more depth to him. Not much. Tara Strode is not John and Deborah's biological daughter. I believe she's adopted as well. Doesn't say actually here on this chart, this timeline. So they are Laurie's adoptive cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Danny is Cara's son.
But it looks about 40.
He's got a weird face, isn't he?
Everybody in that family looks a bit odd. They do. They're a funny looking bunch.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Jamie Lloyd being Laurie's daughter. and Jamie has just had Stephen Lloyd. Apparently he's named. I didn't even know he was named. And at the end of the film, spoiler for a top film, the baby is eventually rescued by Tommy Doyle, who we alluded to earlier, and Cara. Mm-hmm. So we have a new little family of Tommy Doyle, Cara Strode, her son Danny, and now their new adopted child, Stephen Lloyd. What a mess. Okay. What a mess.
I mean, it doesn't add a great deal.
No.
If you're interested in the lore of it, I suppose that's what it is. But
it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything to the film or what happens.
Cara's basically just the new Laurie. She's the new final girl. The fact her parents are meaningless. They don't really have much going on. They get killed off. They're living in the old Myers house, which doesn't look just keep the same design. It's the same with his look. Just put some money and build a set. Doesn't have to be a house. Just build a front view of the Myers house. It doesn't even look like the same building.
No. No.
And I think we've mentioned before that building would have been torn down.
It would have been, but also, they're trying to make out that it is that it was the same one, and I was just sitting there going, but it's not. It just isn't. Like, it quite clearly isn't. Stop it.
Not at all. It's really not.
But yeah, it would. In reality, it definitely would be torn down. And I mean, I suppose you could say that it was built on the site of the original house was torn down, but it was built. We built a new house on the site of, and then at least you could explain the fact that it's clearly not the same place.
I just want to mention as well that we haven't mentioned him at all, but Donald Pleasance returns to Halloween 6 with Dr. Loomis.
Poor Donald Pleasance.
Yes, who passed away not long after the production of this film.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of 95. There are a lot of scenes in this film, again, different from the theatrical cut to the producer's cut regarding Donald Pleasance. If you've seen after Halloween 2, where the hospital blows up, Halloween 4 and 5, half his face is scarred, and in this film it's not there. And in the producer's cut, there's a scene between Loomis and Wynn. Dr. Wynn is the man in black.
And he says he has extensive plastic surgery. Is that the producer's cut then? Because maybe that's the one that is on Amazon.
No,
because I definitely have that scene.
Did you? Okay, at the end of this film, did you get the scene of Paul Rudd putting the stones down on the floor and Michael Myers standing in them and standing still?
Can't remember.
Okay.
To be quite honest, like
how could you not remember that?
It was late, and my interest was waning at this point, and that doesn't ring any bells. But
you watched it on Prime, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. I'm fairly certain that it was in the producer's cut, but I may be wrong. There are so many differences with this film because of how poorly the original cut did that they it's not like they just changed the ending. They spliced in so many new scenes.
I'd be very surprised if it's an obscure cut on Amazon. It's likely to be the theatrical release.
Okay, well maybe that part was in the theatrical cut. I'm not confirming that right now until I find it out later. But he just states he had plastic surgery, a skin graft to get rid of it. That was their why? Because they couldn't put on another prosthetic just to continue the look. That's a rubbish decision. But there is now I know this is in the producer's cut. Wynn convinces Loomis that Jamie died in the police station explosion in Halloween 5. So at the end of Halloween 5, Michael was captured by the police in the jail cell, and the man in black, Dr. Wynn, walks in, kills all the police with like a Tommy gun in slow motion, and escapes with Michael. And he convinces Loomis in this producer's cut that Jamie died, which I actually think that would be a good scene, because it still keeps you guessing that you feel like Wynn is on the good side.
Yeah.
He's trying to convince Loomis. No, Jamie died ages ago. That wasn't Jamie, because Jamie in the chase at the beginning of this film rings the DJ.
Yeah.
And Loomis hears like, what? Jamie Lloyd? What?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, she shouts out, doesn't she, and says,
Yeah.
Like,
Wynn's
Dr.
basically
Loomis, if you're there.
Wynn's basically gaslighting Loomis to say, no. She's dead. She died a long time ago. Which gives it a little bit more surprise for the eventual revelation that Wynn is the Man in Black, who's controlling Michael. See, most of my notes are the difference between this film and this version and this version, because the story's so awful. The film itself is so shit. Yeah.
I mean, there is one thing I want to say is that it's got that very 90s look of stormy in the beginning, like stormy night, spotlights. There always seems to be like it's a stormy night, but incredibly well lit. But it looks like it's well lit from a bunch of huge like police searchlights. Always,
it's always stormy wherever you see Michael. It's raining and thunder and lightning, whatever. And then when it will cut to another scene, it's not happening. We cut back to Michael, it's raining and storm. That really reminds me of the lighting of have you ever seen The Blob, the remake of The Blob? There are scenes in that where they're is it Matt Dillon? One of the Dillon brothers is in it. And he's riding his bike through the woods, and it's just like nighttime, like you said, spotlight, like the moon. It's the moon from the Truman Show. It's just a big spotlight. Yeah. So a little bit back and forth, but yeah. So we were introduced to the adoptive Strode family, and they don't last. The parents don't last that long. Michael is back in town. Deborah Strode loves to do a bit of washing. The mum. She gets killed in the backyard by Michael because she's super spooked by her washing, just flailing around. There's a foreshadowing to an axe that she has.
Yeah, that she's put into a crate and stuff. There's a lot of conversation about. There seems to be a good chunk of this film where there's a lot of characters walking around going, "Michael is back in Haddonfield. Michael's come home to Haddonfield." I swear, like every character in the cast gets the chance to say this line at least once.
Oh, the stars must be aligned. John gets electrocuted in the basement. So the parents are done. He has an excellent name, John Strode, played by a chap called Bradford English. Fantastic.
That is a fantastic name, isn't it? I was trying to find
English
where I'd say I couldn't. There's nothing else I've seen him in, but he looked really familiar, and I couldn't place him.
I thought he was very familiar, but even on IMDb, I don't think he's got a headshot. Is he?
There's, I'm not sure about that.
I'm fairly certain I couldn't even see a headshot of his. Bradford. I bet if you type in Bradford English, I'm just going to get the town.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a headshot. You're right.
He's not been in that much by the looks of it.
And he's not been in that much, and he's not been in that much that I've seen either.
But he just looks familiar.
He just looked really familiar to me. Yeah, I don't know. There must be somebody else. There must be another actor out there that.
It also maybe just be down to his acting and the way he looks that feels very much of like the mid-90s sort of.
Could be. But yeah, he wasn't in a bunch of stuff. He's not been in anything that I've really seen. I was like, why do I recognise him so much?
He gives off a bit of Biff from Back to the Future vibes.
It's like I say, there must be somebody else. He also reminded me a little bit of the guy that I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy in The Walking Dead plays the soldier character in The Walking Dead.
Oh, with the sort of goatee.
Yeah, like
mustache,
the big Zapata mustache.
Yeah, I think I remember who you mean.
I don't remember his name at all. But him. He reminded me of him a little bit. But yeah, clearly it wasn't. But yeah, Bradford English. That's an excellent name.
That is a fantastic name. I never really the casting choices. I never really got that they were a married couple. It didn't really fit. I don't think.
No. I mean, he's an awful person.
Yeah,
John
he's an
Strode
abusive.
He's terrible. He's a horrible man.
Abusive husband, mentally and probably physically.
Yeah, well, certainly physically in terms of, he smacks Cara about.
Yeah.
He seems to be angry at her for having a child.
Yep.
That was the vibe I got. That like she's basically got pregnant young and ruined his impression of her as his perfect little girl. So now he despises her for that. Basically, that's kind of that's the vibe I got. I don't know
It's
if
probably
that's
down
exactly
to
what it
like, oh, I've got to look after this another kid. What it wasn't planned, you know.
But he was just, he was awful, an awful, awful person.
We obviously talked about Tommy Doyle, but he's been Charlie Day in it. He's been Pepe Silvia in it, like with the pinboard and trying to find and work out what the hell's going with Michael. Where is he? Is he still alive? Is he coming after me? He's conspiracy theory nut job. With amazing computer skills. He's got a camera. He's got a camera on a tripod pointed directly at the Myers house. Not creepy at all. Not creepy at all. And it's fine with
understandable as to why he's the local weirdo.
He really is,
but with good reason. With good reason, as
he's not wrong.
He's he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But he was also there that first night. You know, he was privy to it. So there's a little bit of childhood trauma at play there as well. I think it's not fair to just sack him off as being a local weirdo when clearly he went through a horrendous experience as a kid.
Yeah. And is it, I believe he's constantly listened to Barry the DJ's show. And I think on the show, the DJ replays the call from Jamie from earlier on in the bus depot. And Tommy clocks the baby's crying in the phone call and does some funky live editing on his equipment, and you can like turn up the background audio, turn down the foreground. You can hear the baby. Goes to the bus depot himself.
Yeah,
and this is one of those points where he's in the bus depot. It's a big bus depot. You're probably hundreds of people back and forth, and only he can spot the trail of blood on the floor, or from the phone booth on the floor leading down to the bathroom. No one else.
I mean, I think that's fair. A bus station never...
it's not fair.
Well, bus stations are never portrayed as being particularly nice places. I don't think I'd follow a trail of blood through one, to be quite honest. I think a lot of people have probably will have clocked it, but will have gone, that ain't my problem.
That's for someone else.
That's for somebody else to deal with.
Yeah. And he finds the baby. He finds Stephen. He finds his own Stephen wrapped up like a little burrito in the bus depot, and takes him back to his creepy lair. It's pretty much from this point onwards where he eventually joins up with Cara and Danny and Loomis, and that's where the gang start to...
He does, but just before that, we should probably talk about the fact, because he doesn't take the baby back to his creepy lair. He meets Danny first, and they go back to his house.
Oh, yes, I even wrote this down, yeah. Completely.
So we have the scene where Cara walks in to find her son with the local weirdo
with a baby.
And a baby just all sat in their room, and Danny's playing on a Game Boy.
It's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
What would you genuinely? What would you think walking in on that? You'd be like, "Oh my god!" What?
It doesn't just end there, because she's a bit weirded out by it. But then they go back to Tommy's room, and he just explains everything to her. He's had no interaction with Michael in the past, nothing at all, and he's just like, "This is it. This is what's happening. You're involved now. It's the baby." Does that not add to the creep factor alone? Like,
probably does. Yeah.
You've also got a camera pointed at me.
Yeah, because that's when we go into his house and we see his little slideshow, his little PowerPoint presentation he's put together on on
Yeah.
the Cult of Thorn and the Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah, there is God, that shot. You're so right. Of when she just returns home, and Paul Rudd, like we said, he's a much better actor, but his acting is very. He's a special boy. He's a very special. Tommy Doyle is a special boy in this film. Yeah, and also I never really got the house he's living in. Tommy's living in. The elder lady that's living in the house with him, it's not a relative of his, right? I don't believe it was.
Oh, I'm not sure. I didn't pick up on that, to be honest.
Because I believe she sells him out at the end.
I think he just came with the sale. He just came with the house.
Oh my God. I have just seen this on IMDb, though. Have a look at this.
The scariest Halloween of them all. I
don't know about that.
Is it though?
Not sure about that.
Really? I can't read who that quote is actually from.
Academy of Science Fiction.
Not the Academy. They're a reputable organization.
It's
usually.
Here we go. It's the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. It may as well just say some guy on the internet.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's the AOSFH.
Them, yeah. Yeah, them. Let's have a look. Academy of
Does
Science.
that still exist as a thing?
No, they said that quote and they lost all their funding. Fantasy and horror films. The Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy and Horror Films is an American non-profit organization established in 1972 dedicated to the advancement of science fiction, fantasy and horror in film, television and home video. The Academy is headquartered in Los Angeles and was founded by Dr. Donald Reed. It's still around, apparently. How much did they get paid for that?
Don't know.
How much did they get paid?
Maybe
for that?
maybe nothing. Maybe it was just like you plug the Academy, and
they do the Saturn Awards. I've heard of the Saturn Awards.
Yeah,
how
I've heard of the
embarrassing!
Saturn Awards too.
How embarrassing!
But
Anyway.
Yeah, I think there was an envelope exchanging hands for that quote because it's not.
Oh, look at their shitty early 2000s website. Look at this. I feel like I've made this in GeoCities before.
Oh yes.
Oh, look at this.
Amazing.
That's beautiful.
Membership. How do I join?
They've got a hotline. We should ring it. No, they've got a fax number.
Oh wow.
We should send a fax just saying your quote is wrong.
Member benefits. Attending over 100 films a year, which are screened in the Southern California area, bringing a guest with you to all regular screenings, being invited to special events, plays, screenings, concerts, etc. during the week, receiving an invitation to attend the annual Saturn Awards show. Amazing.
Wow.
This is a very, very old website, isn't it? Wow, I've not seen. Yeah, I can't remember the last time. I think 1995 was the last time I saw a website that looked like this.
This is something special. This website.
This is an absolute time capsule. Anyway.
Yeah, down that rabbit hole. Back to the film.
You can always tell the quality of the film by how distracted we get by random IMDb rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Excavating the archaeology of the internet.
Back to Halloween 6, folks. God, see, thankfully you watched the film a lot recently. I watched this a couple of weeks ago. I
feel like my memory's slightly better for it though.
Did you catch? Obviously, Kara's going to school. She's still studying. there's a we only get a quick scene of her at school, and when they put there's a panning in camera shot of when they pull up to the school car park. Do you see the mountains in the background?
No, I can't say I noticed. No.
Oh, not even hidden, and it's because it was shot in Salt Lake City,
Right.
But it's similar to the original where you can see palm trees in the background.
Yeah.
You know, Illinois palm trees.
Yeah.
And the same bag of autumn leaves that they just threw down for each scene, picked back up again. But come on, it's a friggin' mountain. Just shoot it from a different angle.
Yeah, but I just feel like they had bigger problems.
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, where are we? Where are we?
We have our Scooby gang have basically got together. We've been told what the curse of Michael Myers is, and about the cult.
I did write this down in the back towards the beginning when we've got a lot of back and forth with Barry the DJ, and you've got callers calling in. There's one woman that calls in, and I don't remember why I wrote this down, but I've wrote Psycho Lays Nympho, and she quotes, "I just want to know what's behind the mask."
Yeah,
She's obsessed with him.
I think that is like a fairly common phenomena, though, isn't it? Of people.
Oh God, yeah.
Becoming infatuated with serial killers and writing to them and attempting to have romantic relationships.
I can change them. I can change them.
Yeah, I can change them. I did once strike a match with somebody on Tinder, and we had a brief conversation. We never actually met. We never actually went out on any dates, but we chatted for a few days.
Yeah.
And this individual told me that she had been a pen friend of Richard Ramirez for a while.
Why does that sound familiar? Why does that name
the
sound
Night
familiar?
Stalker.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Is this just because we were talking about being interested in horror and true crime and serial killers and stuff? And she's like, she basically outfanned me on it by sort of dropping it. Oh yeah, I was pen pal with the Night Stalker. I was like, what? Hang on. So I don't know how true it was. I don't know how easy. I think she mentioned it was somehow tied up in her studies. She was studying criminal psychology, and she somehow got an address to write to through sources at a university or whatever. But yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And I'm not suggesting that she had any. If it is all true, I'm not suggesting that she had any romantic designs on old Ricky R. But it is, I think it is like a fairly well documented thing about people becoming infatuated with serial killers and wanting to strike up relations with them. So probably just a little nod to that, I guess.
Yeah,
Michael Myers is really famous.
Yeah, really famous. I think it's definitely a nod to that, but I think it's also in our world, since the boom period of podcasts, where hundreds and hundreds of serial killer podcasts, I think that's also made people gain popularity in fascination of serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
I just had that note down. I just found it very funny. Very, very fitting of a 90s half-baked slasher film like this.
Yeah, chuck in a little bit of.
I don't feel this
comedy.
Yeah, I don't feel this would fit in a 70s or 80s one. I feel this is very edgy 90s material.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah. So is it at this point that we have the flashback, the fever dream to the impregnation? Is that what it was? Jamie has a little bit of a
Jamie?
Yeah.
I feel like you might have watched the producer's cut.
I
don't remember this.
I have, now we've been talking about it. But yeah, there's a scene where she's like, "Oh, don't hurt me, Michael," and it's kind of.
Is that in black and white?
Yeah, possibly.
Yes, I think you watched the producer's cut, then, possibly.
Well, weirdly, that's what's available on Amazon. Then it is the producer's cut.
Okay. I'm just catching up now on the plot, just to make sure where it, because this film is a convoluted mess. Let's see where we got to. So yeah, after running to Loomis, telling him about the Strodes, Tommy locates Cara and Danny and takes them to the safety. Oh, it's a boarding house. Fine, lives in the boarding house. Tells Cara that he believes Michael is under the influence of Thorn. Did that. Ancient druid curse drives up a person to kill their family on Halloween. Mentions that Stephen will be Michael's final sacrifice before leaving to meet up with Loomis. Meanwhile, Michael returns to his childhood home, kills Deborah, John, Tim, and Tim's girlfriend Beth. We see Beth die, but do we see Tim die? Beth, because Beth dies whilst Cara is in Tommy's room, watching her through the camera. Yeah, he dies just before that. Is it in the shower? He's either in a shower or he's just got out of a shower. Gets handed a towel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'd know if it wasn't the person I knew, like I thought was there in the bathroom, handing me a towel. Come on.
Also, Michael handing them a towel.
It's like he's playing into the kill.
But he doesn't do that. He just kills people.
Yeah.
He'd just be, it just.
Jason definitely doesn't do that.
No,
because there's a couple of shower deaths in Friday the 13th films like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like a ghost. That's a ghost face kill.
Yeah.
Toying with them, toying with their mind. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So all the Strode family are dead now, apart from Cara and Stephen. What's her name? Mrs. Blankenship, the owner of the boarding house, was babysitting Michael the night. There we go. Here comes some more plot depth. The owner of the boarding house, Mrs. Blankenship, who was babysitting Michael the night he killed his sister, his real sister, not Laurie, tells Cara that Danny hears the same voice that Michael did, relating to the cult of Thorn. Yeah. The man in black beckons Danny to the Myers house, forcing Cara to rescue her son from Michael. Upon return to the boarding house, the man in black is revealed to be Dr. Wynn in his druid garb, his Halloween costume. It's really corny. It is very good.
I like there is that shot of him, Michael, and Danny all stood in front of an altar, and he's got this ridiculous, like, Elvira-esque.
We did watch the producer's cut.
Collar. That shot's on IMDb as well.
Because it's the shot there, and then just off camera to the right, it's just Michael just stood there, stood there so awkwardly. Like, is it? Should I do anything? Where do I put my hands? Do I put my hands in my pocket? Yeah. Oh yes, you did watch the producer's cut. Okay, great. That's brilliant. So Cara and Danny are abducted by the cult, like you said, and they're brought back to the birthing dungeon.
Yeah, birthing cave.
And we're left with Tommy and Loomis, who head to the sanitarium to basically save the day. So this is pretty much the third act, I think the final act of the film, I would say. The birthing cave and sanitarium, which apparently has endless hallways with no rooms or windows, just hallways,
just corridors,
long, brightly lit corridors. I apologize, folks, if we're a bit everywhere with this film. It's a bit everywhere itself. Okay. Just want to. I wrote down loads of differences, like I said, between the theatrical cut and the producer's cut. I just want to check if I missed any that I did. No, these are all related to what
I do feel like in this back end we get a little bit more sort of classic Halloween stuff. Like we have that little scene where they find all the bodies, which I think is straight out of the first movie, where the survivor is wandering the house and suddenly comes across all the previous victims.
Yes, that would be when Cara after she sees Beth's death, She then sees Danny walking towards the house because of the voices in his head.
Yeah.
And then Clara goes after him, and then you get the body. Like, Michael's so good at setting bodies up for perfect placement. Yeah. Perfect timing.
We get a little bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever think, like, I always think about when you see American horror films, and they're set in American houses, which are always bigger than English houses.
Sure.
They've either got two stairways, one that side of the house and one this side of the house, or they've got upstairs is a snaking hallway where 5 or 6 rooms that maybe two link to each other. English houses, I've got my front door leads to my living room, goes to the kitchen, back door. Then there's a stairway leads up to this small room, the bathroom, and the main bedroom.
Which it sounds pretty much like the layout of mine as well. Yeah.
I got nowhere to run.
No.
Like,
I couldn't even get out of an upstairs window.
No. These may as well be like hotel suicide windows where you can't get out. But the American houses always seem like there's always a way you can hide or get away or get around your killer.
Yeah. I always get that with Scream, because there's always like obviously. Like Ghostface moves a lot differently than your classic typical slow walking slasher villains. So there's a lot of like running around in a Scream film, and they run in through like several rooms and round a kitchen island, and then there'll be just a random other exit out of this bedroom for some reason. Yeah, there's always another room to go into. Whereas, are there any British slasher films? Like properly British slasher films?
I mean, there's a big asterisk next to it. There's always Hellraiser, but it's not Pinhead isn't. Pinhead fits the mold, like the iconic group, because of his look. He's not a slash. He's not a slasher. He doesn't kill.
Is it? There's not like a British version of Halloween, like a straightforward masked psycho killer. I mean, maybe there is.
It's a good question.
There's nothing that springs to mind. But I feel like you could definitely play with that trope.
It wouldn't last long.
Well, no, but it'd be something you could definitely poke fun at and just sort of go, look, in a British house, this wouldn't work because there's not a balcony or easily convenient opening windows onto a low roof and all that sort of. Because that's the other thing about American houses in slasher films is it's usually set up early on that the final girl's boyfriend never comes in through the front door. He's always climbing up a trellis and across a porch, a veranda, into the bedroom window, which full well is going to become an escape point for somebody later on in the movie. But it just wouldn't work in a British film at all because our houses just aren't designed like that, especially if it's terraced, a row of terraces.
This one, this is a terrace.
Same here as well, yeah.
And
it's set in a row of British terraces. Coronation Street does Friday the 13th or something. It just wouldn't work.
And there's always easy access to the roof.
Yeah,
you can always just get to climb on the roof. I wouldn't dare try and get out this window and try and climb on the roof. I don't even know how.
I wouldn't fit. I can't fit through the window that leads onto the roof. Like literally, it's like this big. It's tiny.
Yeah, That always bothered me. Not bothered me, but I think, like you said, it's a very American thing. And no, just by looking up, there are no like iconic British slashers. There are British slasher films, but nothing in the scheme of what we're talking about with the American style
that's done
ones.
Numbers.
No. Okay, so we're pretty much in the sanitarium for the rest of the film now. Loomis, I believe Tommy and Loomis split up. Loomis finds Wynn in his office. Now, this is how we'll know what cut you really watched. Was Loomis wearing his druid gear? His big, spiky, like, Warcraft shoulder pads and...
Was Loomis wearing...
Oh, sorry, Wynn. He sat at his desk wearing... I wonder if I can find a picture.
I honestly can't remember. I was really struggling to pay attention to it at this point. I can't remember.
I'll see if I can find you the difference, because they reshot this scene.
Yeah, I was really flagging with it at this point. I was like, oh, come on, just finish.
Just end already.
I did. To be fair, I probably did myself a disservice by watching it as late as I did. I should have probably tried it when I was a little bit fresher, a little bit earlier. Because I was tired and kind of just like, oh, come on, hurry up.
You watched it after we recorded Idle Hats.
I did, yeah. And it was fine to begin with. It was all right, and then it was like, sort of by that hour mark, I was like, oh, I should have saved this.
Right, I found the scene I want. Copy, paste, paint, and clip. Right.
But yeah, it's at this point I was like, Michael does look like someone in a fancy dress costume. My notes are just really sparse. Then the cult all appear and do cult stuff.
They most certainly do. So this is what I've shown you here. If you can see that. One on the left is the theatrical cut, and one on the right, the producer's cut. Now look at the difference.
Yeah.
So the theatrical cut, the scene on the left is the added scenes of Wynn, the actor portraying Wynn, are just those shots of Wynn. They kept there's a couple of shots of Wynn, then a camera of point at Loomis.
It's a completely different room.
Yeah, that shot after I think Donald Pleasance even passed away, like the reshoots.
Right.
So in theory, Wynn isn't even talking to Loomis at that point.
No.
So that scene looks very disjointed, because then there's two actors not even talking to each other.
And clearly in quite different rooms.
Look at the difference.
Yeah. it's radically different, isn't it?
Yeah,
radically different.
So he's already in his cult garb in the producer's cut. He's ready to go. Yeah,
which is also, which is just ludicrous. It's such a hard left fucking turn to take with a movie. Like,
sorry,
I've come up with a we're doing another Halloween sequel. Okay, I've come up with a reason why it all happens. Okay. Yeah. So there's this cult, right? And there's a curse.
Hear me out. Here we go. Come on.
And every Halloween, he has to kill his family. Or, I don't know. But if he does it, the curse gets passed on to somebody else.
You seen when in The Simpsons, the Radioactive Man episode, and the editor is just awful, because when Milhouse runs away, he has to try and edit Radioactive Man with old cuts, shots they did of Milhouse being like he sat at a bench going, Jiminy Jellicers.
Yeah, just eating a sandwich on his lunch break or whatever. Yeah.
And the editor's like, seamless, huh? The director's like, you're fired. That's what it feels like after this pitch was made. And I need to get onto that about, actually, once we've done this, a few notes on what this film actually could have been. There were ideas before. There were wilder ideas before.
This is what they landed on. This is the refined version.
This is the good version of Halloween 6. Okay. Sorry, I've just stumbled upon that shot of Michael just standing there. Like,
that's the thumbnail.
Well, I did. I'm pretty happy with the thumbnail I made, but this is just hilarious. Just standing there. Okay, so yeah, Kara has been abducted. She's on the birthing ritual stone, and the cult are ready to. I mean, I don't even know what they're trying to do to her, because the point of it is Michael is there to kill them.
Kill her.
So what's the ritual about?
This is the big thing with the cult, isn't it? It's like, okay,
why are they needed?
They don't. Are they there to make sure presumably they facilitated Jamie having a kid, so they're trying to keep the curse from passing on by having the Strode family continue.
He's trying, folks. He's trying. He's really trying it.
But I mean, that's why they exist, right? To keep Michael being cursed.
Keep him at bay. They're trying to keep him in check.
But I don't
know. Now after this, do you remember? Do you remember? Does Tommy save her? Does he dress up in? Because at this point in the producer's cut, he dresses up he finds some of the garb, dresses up as a druid, saves her, grabs. Okay, if that's what happened, you watched the producer's cut.
Yeah, he definitely had robes on at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the theatrical cut, it's much more of like a crazy lit horror hospital where these surgeons are looking to, I believe they're looking to do like this sort of surgery, this operation on Kara, and then Michael just walks in and just massacres them all, and then Tommy and Kara escape, running through these industrial looking corridors and hallways while Michael's chasing them.
Yeah.
In the producer's cut, Tommy finds the cult cave, puts on the garb, grabs Wynn with this ceremonial dagger, I believe, and is like, release her, untie her, and then they escape with the baby and Danny, and Michael pursues them. There's also in the difference in the cut where they get to the crazy science room where, did you see, I don't even know, I think it's definitely just for the theatrical cut, test tube babies on the wall and fetuses in
No, that doesn't ring any bells.
So I can find this for you.
Now, I tell you, this is how invested I was, right? My notes at this point say, then the cult all appear and do cult stuff. They escape the cult. Again, 90 minutes feels like a lifetime when it's shit. So I think at this point, I'd really lost patience with watching it. And I just wanted to go to bed.
So what you didn't see...
I had like one eye on it, and I was
is this
on my phone? No.
Now, they end up in this room.
Look at that.
Yeah, they end up in this room with loads of these like
obviously plastic.
Yeah, these machines, science machines, test tubes everywhere. Science room for science purposes. Okay, in this sanitarium, all this stuff is below this sanitarium somehow.
Is there a plasma ball or some sort of plasma effect?
There's something. There's something. Yeah, I believe there is. Here we go. They enter this room, and the finale fight scene happens here. Do you remember this room at all?
No.
Right. So
this
is the theatrical cut.
Like it's made for TV at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it looks like an episode of Charmed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
So there's a bit of back and forth, bit of hiding, bit of misdirection, and Tommy eventually batters Michael's face in with what I think is a fire extinguisher or something. And green goo starts to come out of Michael's eye sockets.
Oh, yeah.
Shut up. It's fine.
Okay. I'll accept that.
The thing with the babies, okay? Apparently the test tube baby fetuses were added to the theatrical cut to give more of an impression that these babies and Stephen, Jamie's baby, were created rather than Michael doing the horrible business with Jamie. Because, I'll be honest, I think that's better than going down the Michael did the business with his niece.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, none of it's necessary. But
none of it's necessary.
If I've got to pick one, then...
If you've got to pick one, and you've already introduced the cult, I would rather them go with this, we create these mystical, these test tube babies, rather than
babies.
Michael's character suddenly being this horrific rapist like monster when he is meant to be just be pure evil. He's the shape.
Yeah,
he's just
emotionless killer. Yeah,
he's there to kill. He's not there to do this sadistic, horrible acts of violence. Like, well, in some sense, you know what I mean. So I actually quite like that. I don't like how it's implemented. It's just these cuts of these babies, these test tube fetuses, just in these colourfully lit containers, just curled up. I mean,
they're really bad looking.
In the producer's cut, they are escaping down that long lit hallway.
Yeah, lots of stark white hospital corridor.
Yeah. And Tommy finds some runes in the pockets of the druid garb.
I completely missed this bit.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Man, I gotta find this. I'll find the clip. In fact, I'm gonna find it now. Fuck it. You need to see it for the context, okay? You need to see it. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, so lots of running corridors, and he finds a little rune bag.
Instantly knows what to do with them.
He studied them. He had it on his computer earlier.
Yeah, instantly knows, puts them in a circle. Michael's coming, he's coming. There again, there's no doors or windows in this hallway. It's just a hallway. Loomis is, I shot it.
Just shooting gates open.
I shot him 6 times. I shut the door 6 times. Tommy also knows to cut his hand to make a blood ritual.
Yeah.
There we go. We know that.
See,
rub it on the dirty floor.
He studied it enough to be a fully paid up member of the cult.
Michael, yep. I can't do anything. I'm stuck in the circle. The magical circle has me trapped. Michael's trapped.
See, I think I started paying attention again when he comes out and throws the robe in the bin, and I was like, "Oh, right, yeah, okay."
Now pause it there. Okay, so
we're out.
That's all producer's cut.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I mentioned a minute ago about the sort of end climax fight scene in that science room, where Tommy beats the ever-living shit out of Michael. That's the last we see of Michael.
Yeah.
Whereas in the producer's cut,
we don't.
This is actually the last we see of Michael. Michael actually escapes after this. So if you want to, let's go on a little bit more. Michael's standing again, just standing. Win basically. What have they done to you, Michael? What have they done to you? Yeah, clutching his fist. Then we cut back to Loomis talking to Tommy and Cara outside. Yeah. That's same both films, and Loomis basically saying, I've got business to tend to. Now, the business he does tend to
changes depending on the cut.
On the cut. In the theatrical cut, it's actually better in the producer's cut, because it actually just makes a bit more sense. It makes a bit more sense, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Because that's the theme for this film.
Makes as much sense as it can.
So, I don't know if you remember this at all. He comes back into the hospital.
This is the unmasking scene, right?
Yes. So, you watched the producer's cut.
I did watch the producer's cut.
I am surprised. I'm really surprised
that's really
that is online.
That's the one that was on. If you just if you want to rent Halloween 6 on Amazon, that's what it is.
You get the producer's cut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you do know this. Okay, so Loomis obviously unmasks Michael, who's he was standing, is now lying down. He got tired of standing, and he unmasks him, and it turns out to be Win.
Yes.
And Michael, they basically swap clothes, and Michael has escaped and is still.
It's like the ending of Crocodile Dundee 2.
I mean, way to steal my notes. It's exactly what I was going to say. I think you may be the only person to ever reference that when talking about this film.
It's clothes swapping for misdirection. It's obviously what is Crocodile Dundee 2.
But the curse gets passed on to Loomis, who is now in somewhat of protection of Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the great Donald Pleasance. Whereas that in the theatrical cut, like I said, we just go back to a minute where Loomis is outside talking to Cara and Tommy. They're like, "Come with us, let's escape together." And Loomis, I've got business to deal with. So he goes back to the hospital. Once he says, "I've got business to deal with," he goes back into the hospital, and that's the last we see of Loomis. We then cut to Michael's mask on the floor in the science room, just the mask and a syringe by it, because they find in that room, they find loads of syringes to sort of sedate him when they could beat the shit out of him. Okay. We then get the audio of Loomis's scream, basically, I guess, alluding to the fact Michael's still out there and Loomis is just
frustrated. Yeah.
And then we cut to the silhouette of the man in black walking away. In both cuts, we know it's Michael. But I think it works better in the producer's cut, at least. At least there's some sort of exposition as to why.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes it clear that it's Michael. I guess.
Yeah, but he's now donned a pagan-looking outfit. Yeah.
Kind of dressed like it's like a bit like a creeper. Jeepers Creepers creeper outfit. I mean, you knew he was bad when he appears and he's got like metal trimmed cowboy boots and spurs, right? Or this, you know, he's going to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
We're only seeing his boots.
There were a couple of different endings, I think, pitched for this. Not just the theatrical and producer's cut. I got them here, a few notes. One version, Wing gets into a helicopter to escape the carnage at Smith's Grove. He thinks he's got the baby in his black satchel and doesn't realise till it's too late that Tommy has taken the baby and put a bomb in its place. The helicopter and Wing goes boom, and Tommy, Car, and the kids make their escape.
Just a bomb. I hope it's one of those comically big round
clock
black
on it
with a fuse, like a Danger Mouse bomb.
A big clock on it, yeah. And then when it blows up, it's just Wim with his hair up and a big black like, soot on his
face, and his hair's all stuck up.
Yeah. What was the other one?
Just get a bomb from.
I don't know, maybe the Colt had a few lying around.
And it says bomb on it.
Yeah, big comical writing, yeah. There was also there was a gag earlier on in the film where Barry the DJ is talking about shooting Michael Myers into space. Mm-hmm. Now, apparently, an original idea that Carpenter had was involving sending Myers to outer space for Halloween 6.
That's when you've run out of ideas.
That's when you run out of ideas.
Or Da Hood.
Leprechaun, Hellraiser, Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
I think that's pretty much the main ones that have gone to space. No other main series have really gone to space yet.
We never got a Freddy in space, did we?
No. Yeah. Did you also know that Tarantino was asked to direct this film?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, and he obviously turned it down.
Yeah.
But his pitch was for after Halloween 5, it was going to be the Man in Black and Michael Myers escape, but they're going down Route 66 on a killing spree. Like a sort of Natural Born Killers, Bonnie and Clyde sort of vibe. Yeah. Just absolute crazy, out of tone. The Halloween.
The soundtrack would have been good, I guess.
It
would have had a cool soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what I meant at the beginning. That I feel like there's more to this film than the film itself to talk about.
Yeah.
The film itself is a convoluted mess, but bread and butter at the same time. It's very slashery basic.
Yeah.
It's all about the production, the reshoots, the story, how messed up it is. Like, there's so much going on. I mean, even in the different cuts, the title card is different. The title card is so different. Like the A in the Halloween, the title card is the Cult of Thorn symbol on the side to look like an A. Just little things like that. They've changed so many things, and yet it still didn't deliver.
No, but it's the sixth film in a franchise, or a series, whatever you want to say. Or I guess the fifth film, I suppose, if we're not really including Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've just taken a big old swing at doing something a bit radical and a bit
swing and a miss. Yeah.
And it is a miss. It is a miss.
We didn't talk about the DJ's death. That was what I meant earlier, where Michael can be in one place and get to another place instantly. But he gets from the Myers house to the park where the DJ is having a show instantly. Where I think it's alluded to, it's like half a mile away or 20 minutes. He's just there and kills the DJ in a different van, not in the DJ's van. Yeah, absolutely bad. It's okay that we missed it. It's fine.
Yeah. What's a little bit of extra detail? Yeah, and it's just such a wild swing. Just an explanation that's not necessary. You could have just done another. Just churn it out again. I think people expect that in long-running slasher franchise. Films that. I mean, looking at the other obvious example, Friday the 13th, you've got Jason's going to start the film dead. So how do we reanimate him? Oh, well, he gets struck by lightning. Okay, cool. All right, we've done lightning. What happens this time? Oh, there's an electrical cable that is going to be dragged in onto his body. All right, yeah, that works. You know what I mean? How is he... This? I mean, all right, they did take a bit of a wild swing by having a psychic resurrect him in one of the sequels. But, yeah, they could have just churned out some more... sexy teenagers getting stabbed up and lost the whole curse thing. It was too wild and too out there to be coming in film number 6.
I probably would have gone down the road of keep Halloween 5 as it is. Keep the mystery man in black breaking into the police station and escaping with Michael, but don't have it as a cult. Have it as a fanatic,
like a
and
serial killing super fan.
Wants to be a copycat killer of Michael and escape, and it's just insane and a fanatic. But Michael being Michael doesn't give a shit and will kill him. Begin the 6, and then we get back to the slasher vibes.
Out on his own again.
Yeah. That's all you need to do. You don't need a Bible. Like, by a Bible of law and notes, and you don't need that for this. No. If we were to, I think we may have done this before with a slasher series, but let's say this is the 6th film. Compare other 6 films in other mainline franchises. So let's say TCM. 4th one is Next Generation.
Yep.
Then we got the remake and the beginning. So the beginning, let's say, is the 6th film in the franchise. It's a prequel to the reboot. It's not bad.
I like.
It's not bad.
That's the brothers dodging the draft, isn't it? Yeah.
And Ali Emery. Yeah, it's good. Nightmare on Elm Street. Is that New Nightmare? Nightmare on Elm Street. Films. Let's have a look.
Is it Where's Nightmare?
5. No, it's the final
Nightmare.
Final Nightmare. I think that one was pretty rough, actually, if I remember rightly. Is that the one with the 3D at the end and the sort of worms?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
That's it. Yeah, the 3D Dream Demons. That's it. It's got the 3D demons that come out and Freddy's face just keeps coming, like looping into itself. Yeah, that's a pretty rough film. What's the Hellraiser? That's going to be a bad one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is Hellseeker. Don't think I've even seen Hellraiser Hellseeker.
I haven't. I mean, it's still Doug Bradley as Pinhead.
The 6th film in Hellraiser series, it features the return of Kirsty Cotton, heroine from Hellraiser, and its sequel. Hellseeker was the last...
A shady stockbroker.
Yeah.
Recovering from amnesia.
In fact, I didn't even know.
I mean, Rotten Tomatoes rating 0%. Hellseeker plays like a made-for-television movie.
Oh, what a shame. Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Jason Lives is my favourite one.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, when you look at all these different series, it looks like, yeah, Friday the 13th had some ups and downs. Not awful, but it made it to 6 films and still good.
Still reasonable.
Still reasonably good.
Still reasonably good. Well, you know, I think 6 is a popular one for a lot of people. Actually.
4 and 6, yeah, 4 and 6. Yeah, unfortunately, Halloween 6 did not cut the mustard until we.
Well, you say that, but it didn't stop the series. It didn't stop the franchise. It didn't. You know what I mean? People.
Well, it didn't stop the franchise, but they had to completely
they retconned,
move on from that storyline because of how batshit crazy it is. And we got to
exactly. You couldn't
Halloween
you
H2O.
Couldn't have followed that up, could you?
No, not possible. I like Halloween H2O. I think it's an okay slasher film. It's got LL Cool J in it, so that's a win in my eyes. Josh Hartnett's incredible haircut. But it's a fun slasher. It's okay. It's no Halloween Resurrection. I still believe Halloween Resurrection is the worst Halloween film
that's the one with Busta Rhymes in it?
It is indeed. Trick or treat, motherfucker.
The house. The
big rubber house.
I think I have seen that one.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Tara Banks is in it as well. Yeah, I think.
Yes, she is. It's not good. It's not good. I did a ranking a while back. I think when Kills come out. I wonder if I can find it on the Twitter.
Really kissable lips in that mask.
Has he now?
It's a really pouty mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that you saying Resurrection?
In Resurrection, yeah.
I previously done a like a Halloween ranking of my favorite Halloween films. Oh God, look! But what is that part between the top lip and your nose? Bridge?
I can't. No. Your bridge of your nose is on.
Bridge, yeah.
That bit, I can't remember. It does have a name, but I can't remember what it is.
Whatever it is, it's fucking huge on that mask.
Yes.
This is really cool. I like this. It shows. This is a piece of artwork showing.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen this before. I like it. I do really like that sort of 70s graphic style.
It's beautiful. Yeah, the orange especially.
Mm-hmm. 1 and 2 are obviously the same mask, right?
A little bit different. 2 is a little bit different. It's got shorter hair, I think, in that one.
Mm-hmm. But facially, I mean, it looks like the same.
Yeah.
Which one was the Guy Fieri haircut one? the frosted tips.
That, I believe, is Resurrection, I think. No, H2O. I can't find whatever my tier list was. I'll do another one, put it up on the Twitter and Instagram, like I did with the Texas Chainsaw one. But I think that my bottom of the barrel probably goes from last Resurrection, 6, and then Kills, then Rob Zombie's sequel. I think those are easily, I think, fair enough, the 4 worst of the series. 6 is something special. It's just.
I feel like it's one of them that you've got to watch it for you've got to be a completionist, and you've got to watch them all, and you can't. If you're going to do a rewatch, then skip it. But if you're watching the franchise for the first time, then you've got to watch it, because it's like you say, this did end a timeline, and they had to, when they came back to it, they didn't want to lose the franchise, but they had to just hold their hands up and go, we went down the wrong path. We need to turn around, retrace our steps, and start again. And that was definitely the right thing to do.
It's not a Halloween film you would, I would certainly recommend to anyone to watch, but for the sense of if you want to do the series, then you should do it.
Like watch the good ones, but then if you've got time, just have a look at this, because it's a doozy. It's a real wacky.
And if you're really interested, do read up on it, do your research on it, because it is fascinating.
That sounds. I'm gonna
what this film has gone through, like all the reshoots, the editing, the problems this film's gone through. That is, like I said, more interesting than the film itself. All the different cuts, like how we've been talking now about, oh, you saw that cut, I saw this cut, you didn't see this, you saw this. It's so much more interesting.
Does sound like a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So was this stuck in a bit of creative limbo for a while then?
More so the fact that it didn't do very well with test screenings, so the creative limbo came after that with the reshoots. And like I said, it's not just an ending reshoot; it's reshoots throughout the whole film.
Yeah,
it's new bits added in, more blood, more violence, more gore, which isn't really fitting for a Halloween film, I think, still. But they wanted to get a better reaction from the audience rather than follow what I guess a Halloween film should really be. Yeah.
Well, swing and a miss, I guess, as we've said. Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss. And this was your pick as well, by the way.
I know, because we weren't gonna do the good Halloween film. No. We weren't gonna do the big one, the classic, the OG. No. So the only logical way to go is to do the worst one. Let's do the one everybody hates. And like I say, I'd not seen it, so it was an excuse to watch it as well. Because I was kind of also down for doing the Busta Rhymes one. But I have seen that previously. I have seen that one before, although probably don't remember it in any
done it
great shape.
Done it, and we're not doing it again until we do a retrospective on the whole franchise and just nitpick here and there. Yeah, but that's in the future. But yeah, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, folks. If you've made it this long, through the podcast, God bless you. God bless you. You must really love this film as much as we do. But yeah, let's. Do you
want to talk about what's coming next?
Yeah, let's put that's in the books. We're moving on. That is October. That is October done and dusted. November, we have confirmed what's going. In fact, most people probably wouldn't even make it this far, so they probably won't now know what's coming in November. But if you have, we've got a lovely little number called the Kill List. Your pick?
The Kill List. Yeah.
Yes, coming next.
You haven't seen this, right?
No, never even heard of it.
It's what's his chops? I forget the director's name. Ben Wheatley. It's Ben Wheatley.
Okay, yep.
So, who's also responsible for Men and The Ritual.
Okay,
sorry,
yeah.
Is The Ritual? I don't know if he does direct The Ritual. But
all right, I'm in.
No, he didn't direct The Ritual. Sorry, but Men is definitely one of his. In the Earth, Sightseers, which is another great British horror film. I guess that's a little bit of a slasher. Anyway, yeah, Kill List. It is. We're back on the folk horror stuff.
Yeah, well, we pretty much, yeah.
He also did A Field in England as well, which is another interesting movie. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. This, if you haven't seen it, it doesn't come across as being a horror film until it's a bit of a Wicker Man in the sense that it's kind of got a big reveal.
Okay.
So you've maybe a bit of a slow burn to stick with it. I've only seen it once before, so I'm looking forward to another watch of it again. But yeah, it feels like you're watching kind of a different film for a lot of it, and then it takes a drastic twist at the end.
Okay, I'm intrigued because of the fact I've never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even more intrigued. It's not like a horror film that's been on the backlog. This is completely fresh and new to me. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then after that is my pick, which being The Vitch.
The Vitch.
Just had a big big feeling of watching that again. Love that film. Not seen it in a long time. Got the 4K downstairs, so I want to watch that with the back special features.
Because that again, that is I'm a big fan of that one.
Incredible film.
That again.
Robert Eggers' debut masterpiece is fantastic. And then we'll be moving on to our next installment of Monsters of Universal, Bride of Frankenstein, Part 5.
Frankenstein.
And then hopefully if we can find a UK theatrical release, which I think it's going to happen because they've been showing the trailer in theatres of Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. So
yes,
that will be capping off November. Another little holiday.
Yeah, hopefully it does. I definitely saw a trailer for it the other day. In the cinema.
Yeah, it was. I think it was shown before Saw.
It was showing before Saw. Yeah.
So if viewers showing it, that's basically advertising that we're going to hold it. We're going to.
You'd assume so. Yeah. So that releases on scheduled to be released in the States on November 17th.
So
hopefully we get it.
Filling that in for the end of November, and then December. December is Christmas month. All month.
December is Christmas month. A full month.
Christmas horror.
Christmas-related horror movies.
Can't wait.
Including the good and the bad of the subgenre.
Yes.
To pick. I think we said we'd pick a good one and a bad one each, didn't we? So
yep.
I did see one in the window of a local charity shop.
Oh.
I think it was called Hell Elves or something.
Oh please! Oh yes, please!
I didn't get it, but it's a contender.
I mean, all you got to do is go on Amazon Prime, type in Christmas and horror.
I mean,
and,
that's what I'm doing.
It's basically like a goodie bag of put your hand in and see what you're going to pick out.
Yeah, one of those exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted to do with this, was go and scrape the bottom of the Amazon Prime barrel of straight to bargain bin classics.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So rest of the year looking good, all planned out. Stick around. You've got some good stuff coming for you guys. But yeah, that's today's episode. That is Halloween. That is this year's Halloween installment, done and dusted and in the books. So it's time to get out of here because we've done a lot of work in the past couple of days. We need a Halloween break now.
We have.
So we'll be back for the kill list next episode.
Nice.
Check us out on all social medias. The Dreadcast on Instagram. The _ Dreadcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. A few videos coming up every few days, trying to catch up. Find this and all past content on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Podbean, and YouTube.
We've got the mailbag at the dreadcastpodcast@gmail.com. Nailed it. Yeah. It's a new address, folks. It's a new address. There's been a little bit of admin moving things around. So our new email address is the dreadcastpodcast@gmail.com. So don't forget that second cast in there if you want to chuck us a little message on via email.
Yes. That's the one.
And yeah, I think that's it. The only thing left to say is Happy Halloween, folks.
Happy Halloween, folks.
Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.